The Sunday family dinner at my parents' house had become a weekly ritual of humiliation. I sat at the far end of the table, fork pushing around overcooked vegetables, while my sister Emma held court about her recent promotion to junior analyst at a regional bank. "They're giving me a corner cubicle," Emma announced, her voice dripping with pride. "And I'll be managing the student loan portfolio. It's a huge responsibility." Mom clasped her hands together. "Oh, sweetheart. A corner cubicle at 26. We're so proud of you." Dad raised his wine glass. "To Emma, who's building a real career with a real company. Someone in this family understands what actual work looks like." The dig was intended for me. It always was. I was 29 and had spent the last 6 years building CloudSync, a data integration platform for enterprise clients. My parents had never understood it, never asked about it, and certainly never celebrated it. To them, I was the disappointment who played on computers instead of getting a real job. "How's the computer stuff going, Maya?" Uncle Rich asked, his tone making it clear he was asking out of politeness, not interest. Before I could answer, Dad cut in. "She's still doing that website thing. Playing around with code or whatever. I keep telling her to apply at Emma's bank. They have IT positions, stable jobs with benefits." "It's not a website, Dad. It's an enterprise SaaS platform that..." "See? I don't even understand what you just said." Dad laughed and the table joined him. "That's not a real job description, Maya. When are you going to stop with the hobby and get serious about your future?" Emma leaned forward, her expression dripping with false concern. "Maya, I know you're passionate about your little projects, but Mom and Dad are right. You need stability. My bank is hiring in IT support. I could put in a word for you. The pay isn't great to start, maybe 40,000, but it's a foot in the door." 40,000. I made that in interest alone each month, but they had no idea. "I'm fine with what I'm doing," I said quietly. Mom sighed heavily. "Maya, we're just worried. You're almost 30, living in that tiny apartment, driving that old car. We want you to be secure. Look at Emma. She just got approved for a luxury condo downtown." What they didn't know, my tiny apartment was a penthouse I owned outright in the city's most exclusive building, maintained under an LLC for privacy. My old car was a vintage Porsche 911 I'd restored myself. I preferred keeping a low profile. The tech industry had taught me that quiet competence beat loud mediocrity. "Actually, I need to ask a favor," Emma said, shooting me a sympathetic look that made my stomach turn. "My condo down payment stretched me thin. Could you spot me 2,000 for furniture? I know you probably have some savings from your computer thing." The table went quiet, everyone looking at me expectantly. $2,000. I donated $50,000 to a tech education nonprofit just last week. CloudSync had 47 enterprise clients, including 3 Fortune 100 companies. Our annual recurring revenue had just crossed 60 million. Microsoft, Amazon, and Google had all approached me about acquisition talks. "I'm a bit tied up right now," I said carefully. Dad frowned. "Maya, your sister is asking for help. Family helps family. Surely you can spare a couple thousand." "Your father's right," Mom added. "Emma has always been there for you. Remember when she let you borrow her professional clothes for that job interview 5 years ago? The job interview that I'd deliberately bombed because I'd already incorporated CloudSync and secured my first client. But they remembered it as another one of my failures." "I'll think about it," I said, pulling out my phone as it buzzed. "See, this is the problem," Dad said, gesturing at me with his fork. "Always on that phone. Always distracted by your games. You need to focus on real life, Maya. Real relationships. Real work." The notification on my phone was from my lawyer. "Microsoft's offer is final, $340 million all cash. Press release scheduled for tomorrow 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Congratulations. $340 million. I read it twice, my heart pounding. 6 years of 18-hour days, of coding until my eyes burned, of client meetings and product iterations and countless rejections before the breakthroughs. And now, validation in the most concrete form possible. Paya." Dad's voice snapped me back. "Are you even listening? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Put the phone away and engage with your family." I slipped the phone back into my pocket. "Sorry. Work email." Emma laughed. "Work email on a Sunday? Maya, that's not healthy. You need work-life balance. That's what they teach us in corporate training. Your sister's right, Mom said. This obsession with your computer hobby isn't normal. It's taking over your life. Uncle Rich cleared his throat. I actually have a buddy who runs an IT consulting firm. Small operation but steady. I could connect you, Maya. Might be more stable than whatever you're doing now. I appreciate it, but don't be stubborn, Dad interrupted. Pride won't pay your bills. You need to accept that this tech thing isn't working out. 6 years is long enough to chase a dream. It's time to grow up. 6 years. They said it like an accusation, like I'd wasted my 20s. They had no idea those 6 years had built something extraordinary. Dinner continued with more talk of Emma's accomplishments. Her 3% raise, her invitation to the bank's quarterly management meeting, her new business cards with embossed lettering. Every achievement was celebrated, analyzed, praised. Mom had already framed Emma's promotion letter and hung it in the hallway. Meanwhile, my office had a wall of industry awards. Innovation Leader of the Year, Top Enterprise SaaS Platform, Entrepreneur Under 30. My parents had never seen them. They'd never visited my office, never asked to see what I'd built. Oh, Maya, before I forget, Mom said as she served dessert. Mrs. Patterson from church asked about you. Her son Derek just made partner at his law firm. I told her you might be interested in meeting him. He's very successful, very stable. You could use someone like that to balance out your uncertainty. Uncertainty. That's what they called my life. I'm not interested in being set up, I said. You're not getting any younger, Mom pressed. And let's be honest, you need someone with financial stability. Your income situation is so unpredictable. Emma reached over and patted my hand. Mom's right. You should meet him. Derek could probably give you career advice too. Lawyers know about contracts and business stuff. Maybe he could help you turn your hobby into something more legitimate. My phone buzzed again. Then again. And again. I pulled it out, frowning. Notifications flooded the screen. Text from my CTO, my board members, my investors. And then I saw why. TechCrunch had broken the story early. Microsoft acquires CloudSync for $340 million. Founder Maya Chen, 29, among youngest tech entrepreneurs to exit. The article included my photo from last month's industry conference, standing beside Satya Nadella. My blood went cold. The press release wasn't supposed to go live until tomorrow morning. Someone had leaked it. What's wrong? Emma asked. You look pale. Before I could answer, Uncle Rich's phone chimed. Then Dad's. Then Emma's. Uncle Rich looked at his screen, frowned, and looked at me. Maya. There's a woman named Maya Chen in the news. Tech sale or something. Same last name as us. My throat went dry. Dad pulled out his phone, squinting at the screen. CloudSync. Wait, that sounds familiar. Maya, isn't that what you call your thing? Emma was already reading, her face changing from curious to confused to shocked. No. No way. Dad, this says Maya Chen sold her company to Microsoft for $340 million. The table went silent. Mom laughed nervously. That's ridiculous. There must be another Maya Chen. Our Maya does websites. Mom. Emma's voice was strange, strangled. Look at the photo. That's Maya. Or Maya. At a conference with the Microsoft CEO. She turned her phone around. There I was, shaking hands with Satya Nadella at the Enterprise Tech Summit 3 weeks ago. The same summit my family had dismissed when I'd mentioned I couldn't make Sunday dinner because of travel. You said you were visiting a friend in Seattle, Mom whispered. I was. A friend who happens to be the CEO of Microsoft. Dad's face had gone from red to white. This can't be real. You're saying you sold a company for $340 million, I said quietly. The press release was scheduled for tomorrow, but apparently someone leaked it early. Emma was scrolling frantically through the article. It says here you founded CloudSync 6 years ago. It says you have 47 enterprise clients, including Amazon, Google, and Goldman Sachs. It says you're one of the most influential entrepreneurs in cloud infrastructure. That's correct. Goldman Sachs is our biggest client, Emma said faintly. I process their loan paperwork. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Uncle Rich was reading from his own phone now. This article says you were featured in Forbes 30 under 32 years ago. Maya, why didn't you tell us? I tried I said, my voice steadier than I felt. 6 years ago I told you I was starting a company. Dad called it a hobby. 4 years ago I invited you to our series of funding celebration. You said you were busy. 2 years ago I won Innovator of the Year at the Global Tech Summit. I mentioned it at Christmas dinner, and Emma changed the subject to her new gym membership. Mom's hand trembled as she set down her wine glass. But you never said you were making money. You drive an old car. You live in a small apartment. I drive a 1973 Porsche 911 that I restored myself because I love vintage cars. I own a 3,000 square foot penthouse in the Millennium Tower under an LLC because I value my privacy. I've kept a low profile because I learned early on that people treat you differently when they know you're successful. $340 million, Dad repeated, his voice hollow. And you let us think you were struggling. You let Emma offer you a $40,000 IT support job. You never asked what I actually did, I said. You never wanted to know. Every Sunday dinner for 6 years you called my work a hobby, a game, a waste of time. You compared me to Emma's conventional career and found me lacking. I stopped trying to explain because you'd already decided I was the failure. Emma's face had crumpled. The furniture loan. Oh God, you probably thought I was ridiculous asking you for $2,000. I thought it was sad, I admitted. Sad that my own sister assumed I was so broke that $2,000 would be a stretch, when I'd just donated 25 times that amount to charity the week before. Mom started crying. We didn't know. Maya, how could we know if you didn't tell us? I did tell you. Repeatedly. You chose not to listen. My phone was ringing now. I glanced at the screen. Satya Nadella himself. I need to take this, I said, standing up. It's the CEO of Microsoft. I walked into the living room, leaving my family in stunned silence. Paya. Satya's warm voice came through. I apologize for the early leak. Are you all right? I'm fine. Just dealing with some family reactions. They didn't know. They thought I was unemployed. He laughed, not unkindly. Well, congratulations on your success and on finally getting to tell them. You've earned this moment. The board is thrilled, by the way. We're planning a celebration next week in Seattle. I hope you'll bring your family. We'll see, I said diplomatically. When I returned to the dining room, my family was in various states of shock. Dad was reading article after article on his phone. Mom was dabbing her eyes with a napkin. Emma looked like she might be sick. That was Satya Nadella, I said calmly. He's inviting me to a celebration in Seattle next week. He suggested I bring family. Paya, Dad started, his voice breaking. I don't understand. Why did you let us think? I didn't let you think anything. You assumed. You saw what you wanted to see. The daughter who wasn't living up to your expectations, who wasn't following the traditional path. It was easier to dismiss my work than to try to understand it. We would have been proud, Mom said desperately. If we'd known. Would you? Or would you have found ways to minimize it the way you minimized everything else? Oh, Maya got lucky. Maya's in a bubble that'll burst. Maya should still get a real job as backup. I've heard variations of that my entire life. Uncle Rich was staring at me like he'd never seen me before. The IT consulting firm I mentioned. The owner would kill to work with you, wouldn't he? Probably, I said. CloudSync has a wait list of over 300 companies hoping to become clients. We stopped taking new business 6 months ago because we couldn't scale fast enough. Emma finally spoke, her voice small. I told you to get work-life balance. I told you that you were obsessed. And all this time you were building this. Yes. I'm so sorry, Maya. The apology hung in the air, inadequate and too late. My phone buzzed with a text from my CTO. Team celebration tomorrow at the office. Champagne and press interviews. You coming? I typed back. Absolutely. I need to go, I said, grabbing my jacket. I have a company acquisition to manage, press interviews to prepare for, and a team to celebrate with. You know, my hobby. Maya, wait, Dad said, standing up. We can talk about this. We're proud of you. We're so proud. Are you proud of me or proud of the money? He had no answer for that. I looked around the table at my family. The people who were supposed to support me, believe in me, celebrate me. For 6 years they'd done none of those things. Emma, about that furniture loan, I said. I'll send you $5,000. Consider it a housewarming gift. But understand it's not because I owe you anything. It's because I can afford to be generous, even when others weren't generous to me. I walked toward the door, then paused. Oh, and Dad? That corner cubicle Emma's so proud of? CloudSync's interns have private offices with better views. But I'm sure her embossed business cards are very impressive. The last thing I heard as I left was Mom's broken voice. We've lost her. We've completely lost her. The next morning I stood in CloudSync's office surrounded by my team, the people who'd believed in my vision when my own family hadn't. We popped champagne and watched the morning news coverage together. Microsoft's acquisition of CloudSync represents one of the largest enterprise software deals this year, the anchor reported. Founder Maya Chin, just 29, has become one of the youngest entrepreneurs to successfully exit at this valuation. Industry experts credit her innovative approach to data integration and her ability to scale rapidly while maintaining product quality. My phone had been exploding with messages all morning. Congratulations from investors, clients, competitors. Interview requests from Forbes, Fortune, TechCrunch. Speaking invitations from conferences around the world. And 14 missed calls from my parents. I didn't call back. Instead, I opened my laptop and started planning CloudSync's transition to Microsoft, mapping out my next venture, sketching ideas for the startup accelerator I'd always wanted to launch. The one that would fund young entrepreneurs whose families didn't believe in them. 6 years ago, my father had called my work computer games. Today, those games had sold for $340 million. And I'd never needed his approval anyway.